Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Grayson. I am, or was, a full-time realtor. Now I'm this wannabe content creator, Twitch streamer kind of combo. And I love watching desk setup tour videos. And so I decided I should create one of those. Now, before we get into everything, I just want to say, a lot of times when you watch the desk setup tours, it's all about kind of aesthetic. And I love that. I think it's really cool. The truth is, Who's got time for cable management? Life's too short. So this is just a very real, raw reality of the equipment that I use, the setup that I use to create a massive amount of content between the work that I do for clients as well as now the stuff that I'm really trying to push in terms of my own content. So this is what I use to live stream on Twitch, what I use to create any social media content that I create, to edit videos, to edit photography. The whole gamut, the whole spectrum of creativity is accomplished here at this setup. So let's get into it. All right, let's start with the workhorse that really accomplishes the bulk of the heavy lifting, my PC. Now, my PC is a pre-built tower. I thought a lot about building my own PC, and I think it's really cool to do, and you can probably save at least a little bit of money doing that. But to be perfectly honest with you, I had never done it before, and even though there's plenty of tutorials online, I just knew that it was gonna take longer than I expected, and it just didn't feel worth the small difference in price to go ahead and buy just a pre-built PC. So this particular computer has a Core i9 9900K Intel processor, and I went with the i9 because of my video production, my video editing, wanting to export 4K videos as quickly as possible. It just felt like a worthwhile investment for me, especially because I used to edit on a laptop that I would have to leave sitting exporting for forever. And so with this PC, I'm able to export 1080p videos, even 4K videos in at least real time, if not faster than the actual runtime of the video. So it's been a really, really incredible processor for me. I never max it out. It's been a beast. And then I've also got an RTX 2070 Super, which is a good graphics card. Obviously you can buy better. You can go up to the 2080, which it just didn't feel worth the difference, the marginal difference in performance. And so I went ahead and went with the 2070 Super, which I've been very happy with, haven't really had any issues with at all. When I first bought the computer, I had 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is a decent amount of RAM, but to be honest, with video production, to get more RAM really helps you, especially with just the buffering of your timeline and everything. And so I went ahead recently and upgraded my RAM from 16 up to 64 gigabytes. And I gotta tell you, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It is incredible the difference that it makes in especially messing with like my Mavic Air footage, my drone footage, because drone footage is like notoriously difficult on Adobe Premiere. And so I've really noticed the difference in my computer's ability to handle that footage now that I've got the 64 gigabytes of RAM. So I'm super, super happy that I made that investment. Then it's got a 1 terabyte NvMe SSD. One just little note for me personally, on my previous laptop, I had something like a 256 gig SSD or even a 128 SSD. And then I had a like 2 terabyte, kind of traditional hard drive. I will never go multiple hard drives in a computer again because it's really annoying to have, your startup an OS on one hard drive and then fill that hard drive, especially when it was only 128 terabyte or 128 terabytes, I wish. Especially when it was only 128 gigabytes, I filled that up very fast. And so I ended up having to run programs on my traditional hard drive. For me, I will always go one single hard drive and then I'll use external drives and stuff for backup and storage. But for me, it was worth going for the 1 terabyte core hard drive because it was enough space for me to have all of my programs as well as some of the catalog of work that I'm currently working on. So I hope that makes sense. For me, it just totally not worth having a small SSD with a really, really big regular hard drive. For me, it just didn't work. I'd rather have a big SSD and then just deal with backups on the cloud or in hard drives externally. So really happy that I went with the 1 terabyte and the NvMe SSD. My program boot ups are like ridiculously fast. I can reset my PC in T-minus like 4 seconds. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's really, really fast. So really happy with that aspect of the PC as well. Next, I want to move on to my monitors. Now, I've got 2 monitors. I've got my primary one that I do most of my work on, and then a periphery monitor that just runs some of my extra stuff. Lets me have things on the side to be able to look at. Lets me say even run like a video, Spotify, Discord, all that sort of stuff on another screen. As well as when I'm streaming, I'm obviously playing the game on one, and then I have my chat on another. And because of that, because one of them is not a primary workhorse, it is a very old Dell 24-inch monitor. It's like 9 years old. I didn't even bother to look up the model number because you don't want to buy it. It's not worth it. It's probably one of the very standard old monitors. It works for me in terms of being this secondary monitor, but it for the time that it was my primary monitor, it really struggled with like color balancing and all sorts of stuff. And so I recently upgraded to a new monitor that I'm incredibly happy with. It is the Aorus. I'm not positive on the pronunciation. Aorus F1227Q 27-inch 1440p 165 hertz monitor. I really hope I got that right. If not, don't worry, there's a link of it down below. You can double check. But I've been very happy with this monitor. And I struggled a lot, and I did a lot of research trying to find a monitor because I needed a combo of 2 things. I wanted something more than a 60 hertz monitor so that when I was gaming, I was able to take advantage of a higher hertz monitor. And so I was looking for like, something up around the range. Now I'm at the 165 range, and I wanted that. The problem is, oftentimes those monitors were built like for gaming, and so their color accuracy for things like video, color grading, and even like graphic design and such, the color accuracy isn't 100% there. Oftentimes they have them highly contrasted, highly saturated to make the game more appealing, which I totally understand, but it was a problem for me where I want to be able to game with this high refresh rate monitor, but I also want to be able to have high color accuracy as possible. On top of that, I didn't have a budget that was just, I couldn't go spend $2,000, even $1,000 on a monitor. And so I found what for me was a healthy balance. It still is an expensive monitor, but was worth it because I find that my color grading and my ability to mess with color and graphic design, it's very accurate, especially to what I get on my phone, and we're seeing it on Instagram where most people are consuming content anyways. It works really well there, and I actually have a custom profile set up. It's one of the things I really like about this monitor. I set up a custom color profile to be as accurate as possible. Particularly, I wanted it to reproduce well onto like mobile devices, because for me, I'm not producing print content or anything. Most of the stuff that I make is going to be seen on a mobile device, and so I wanted the color accuracy of my monitor to really match what people are experiencing on a phone, and I've set up a profile on the monitor that matches that really well. And then I have just a standard profile that's what I game at, that's much more saturated and all sorts of things that really make the games pop. And so this monitor has been an incredible investment. All right, I'm gonna move on to some of the peripherals that I use on or with the computer. The first is the microphone I use. I just use a Blue Yeti USB mic. If you've Googled good microphones a lot, you probably see that one come up. I understand there's better on the market, but it really works for me even with streaming. It's a simple USB plug-in. I don't need to use an audio interface. I get plenty good enough quality for my live streaming. It works really well. I don't have a boom arm or anything for it. I'd like to get that at some point. It's just an investment I've not made at this stage, but it's been a great mic for me. I really do recommend it. They even have a smaller one called the Snowball that I've heard good things about, but for me, the Blue Yeti USB microphone has been fantastic. Moving on to headphones, I use Audio-Technica ATH M40 headphones. They're a good kind of middle range wired headphone. At some point, it'd probably actually be nice to move to a wireless headset, but again, it's just not an investment I've made at this point. They work well enough for me. The mouse that I use actually came with the PC. It's a pretty standard gaming mouse. I wasn't able to even find it sold separately, but it works for me. Then I use a keyboard, RGB keyboard from Red Dragon, a very cheap keyboard. Again, it's linked down below. You can see I didn't spend a lot on the peripherals. My PC itself is an absolute monster, but the peripherals just kind of get the job done. I don't have any issues with them, though at some point I do plan to move on to a wireless keyboard and a wireless mouse just to declutter the desk, help with the cable management and such. But for now, They work really well, have no issues with them. I almost always am using my headphones, but if not, I do have a pair of speakers. They are the Creative Pebble 2.0. They're powered over USB, again, very cheap on Amazon. I recommend them if you're not needing crazy high audio quality from speakers. You just want it every once in a while to watch YouTube videos or Netflix or something. They're not studio speakers. They're not gonna help you EQ the audio in your videos or in your podcast or anything like that. They are and they're really not great for gaming either. For me, they really are there if I just want non-headphone audio to be able to listen through, and they work and they're like 20 bucks or something. So that is the computer side of my setup. I'm very, very happy with it. Obviously, you can always nitpick and pick apart and say, I changed this, I changed that, I changed this. And there are some of those elements, right? I upgrade my second monitor, I'll go wireless on my keyboard, I'll go wireless on my headphones, little things, but for the most part, this thing just gets the job done and works really, really well. And I have essentially no technical difficulties with it. I've really, really enjoyed this setup. I will just touch briefly on the software I use. I use all Adobe products for my creative work. So for video, I'm exclusively in Premiere Pro and After Effects. And then I use Photoshop and Illustrator and Adobe Audition for other things. So I'm a little bit of an Adobe fanboy, to be perfectly honest with you. It's what I learned on, it's what I've taught myself on. It's what seems to be the most prevalent in terms of tutorials on YouTube. And so they are what I stick with. And then in terms of my live streaming on Twitch, I use Streamlabs OBS and have had no real issues with it. It works really well. That's my main software workhorse in terms of producing content. Streamlabs OBS and then the Adobe Creative Suite. Now just to talk camera a little bit. I know this isn't a camera video, it's a setup video, but because I do live streaming, I use the camera that you are currently watching this video through for my live streams. In fact, the camera is set up exactly where it is for my Twitch streaming. This is the setup, and it is the Sony a6500. I've had the camera for, you know, man, like 4 years or something like that, and love the camera. There are some upgrades now in the 6000 line, like the 6600 and things like that. I haven't spent a lot of time researching, but if you're looking for a great kind of starter mid-tier mirrorless camera, I cannot recommend the Sony line enough. I love it. There's some great other options out there, I know, but for me, I'm a bit of a Sony fanboy. It's probably because, again, it's what I learned on, but it's the camera of choice for me. For live streaming, I use the Sony a6500, and then I have a Sigma 16mm f1.4 as my glass, as my lens on it. And then I'm running it through a Camlink 4K, which is just the easy way to interface your DSLR or your mirrorless camera into your PC. Works really well for me. You know, I don't think you need a camera this nice, especially if you're starting out on Twitch. It's like, if you don't already have that camera for other work that you do, you may as well just get a webcam for 70, 80 bucks. You know, you can get a great high quality webcam from Logitech or someone else. For me, I already have the camera and it works really, really well for me outside. And so it was like, oh, let's just toss it on here, and it's been fantastic. So that's my setup camera-wise, both for my live streaming, and that's also the camera body that I use for all of the other work I do. I know a lot of people are probably wondering why I haven't upgraded to the A7 III. Again, it's just one of those situations where it just costs money. It's expensive to upgrade to the A7 III. I want to do it at some point. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I'm now waiting for the next release from Sony at this point, because I'm really hoping it's coming soon, please Sony, and I'll probably upgrade it at that stage to that camera. But for now, the 6500 really works really well for me, and accomplishes everything I need it to accomplish. Next, I'm just going to talk briefly about the main lighting that I use. The RGB that you see on the back, as well as the key light that I'm using, all come from the GVM 800D series. The nice thing with these lights is they're RGB fully compatible, so you got the full spectrum of RGB, and they also have a great gamut in terms of white light from more, you know, warm to more cool, like I'm using now. I really, really like these lights. They do have a mobile app that you can use to adjust colors and everything. I personally find the mobile app to be a little bit cumbersome and not worth spending the energy connecting to the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all the stuff that it has to use. It's a little bit cumbersome, so I don't use it, but I really, really like these lights. They run constantly because I'll do a 4 or 5, 6 hour stream and they're on the whole time. Then I'll shoot videos like this and they don't really heat up, they don't get very hot. I may do a full review of the lights as a whole, but for now, those are the lights that I use. I have 3 of them. One again is my key light, and then one for the green, one for the blue behind me, and I'm really, really happy with those lights. And then the last thing I'll just touch on for this tour real quick is my desk and my chair. My chair is a generic IKEA chair. I'm not sure exactly which one. I'm sure you can find it on their website. I recommend it if you're looking for a cheap chair. I don't find it overly supportive. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'4", pretty tall, pretty heavy, and so it's worked. It's worked for me for the past 2 years I've had it, but I recently actually upgraded. That new chair's not in. I'll probably do a video just about that chair because I'm really excited about it. This is the one I've been using. My biggest 2 complaints with it are the lumbar support's pretty minimal on it and you don't really have adjustments for it. And the actual arms of the chair are way too low for me. I'm just too tall. And so the arms of the, I basically am using an armless chair because they don't work. And if I want to use them, I have to really kind of bend over and sit on them. And then you know, my spine's out of whack, and so it creates back pain. And so I am upgrading to a new chair that I'm pretty excited about, that again, I'll do a video about. So if you're looking for a very basic, very cheap chair and you don't spend extended periods of time in your chair, it's actually been a good chair for me. But if you need to spend extended time sitting in that chair, it may not work super great for you. So that's my overall recommendation on that. And then lastly is my desk, this L desk. This was actually my wife's desk in our old home before we moved out of state and got this apartment that we're in right now. It's from Wayfair, which is a great website. I couldn't find the actual desk. I don't know if they even have this exact one anymore. So I'll just give you my overall critique on Wayfair as a website. We've ordered a lot of furniture from there and had great experiences. We really like the quality. We like the furniture we've gotten. So if you get on Wayfair, they have reviews. A lot of the furniture has a lot of reviews, so you can get a good insight into whether it's good. Because I have moved in the season between COVID and my pursuit of Twitch and now YouTube, I'm wanting to get a sit stand, like electronic desk at some point, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. I've looked at some stuff at IKEA, but I've also been looking at things like Fully. So Fully, if you want to sponsor a small creator, I'm here for you. But at this point, this desk works good. It does the job. It's a desk. There's not much more to say. It's sturdy, but hopefully I'll be making an upgrade on the desk department before too long, and then I'll be able to do a video about that as well. That is everything for my core setup that I use every single day. I have a lot of other camera gear, a lot of things I use outside of my actual sitting at the desk creating content work, and I'll hopefully do some more videos about that in the future. But that is everything that I use to sit, edit videos, to sit and stream onto Twitch. That's the setup. Now, I just wanna end this video by saying you don't need this much stuff and you don't need this expensive of stuff to create great content. Obviously, it's great to have. I'm incredibly grateful to have it, but I just wanna encourage those of you out there, start where you're at. Even if you just got an iPhone to shoot video and edit on, that's really all you need to make some cool stuff and create a name and a mark for yourself. So start where you are and then slowly work your way up. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you have to go get credit card debt to get this kind of stuff, and that's what's gonna make you really good at making videos or really good at making good photos or make you a famous streamer on Twitch. That's just not what it takes. It takes you putting in work and energy and effort, being consistent with the things that you do. It's not about spending a ton of money to get a bunch of great gear. And I know you hear people say that, and I know it's hard to believe, but it just is the truth. I slowly built my way up over many, many years to having the stuff that I have so far. And in the future, if I make another video with more stuff, it's because I slowly built my way up to buying that more stuff. So hopefully that's helpful to some of you that are out there wanting to get to a place where you've got a cool setup. You're gonna get there. Just keep working at it. I believe in you. Thank you guys so much for checking this video out. This is really my first video I'm putting up on YouTube that's not like a Minecraft gaming video. So if you stuck around for this, I really appreciate it. If you're into video games at all, I stream over on Twitch multiple times a week. Here's the link, twitch.tv/GraysonHouston. I'm on Instagram, I'm on all the other stuff. It'll be linked down below. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I would love to answer your questions. And if you enjoyed this at all and want more content like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. It'll encourage me to keep going and making this sort of stuff. So appreciate you guys. See you on the next one.